Hey Robo-Buddies! So, I need your help with my next video. Here's a little bit of the backstory. So you may have noticed a video series I've been making called the Monthly Memory Verse video, where on the first day of every single month, I give you guys a new Bible verse, and then we do a close reading of that Bible verse and learn how to apply it to our own lives. To piggyback off of those Monthly Memory Verse videos, on the last Monday of every single month, I've been doing a closer look kind of video, where I talk about how that monthly memory verse applies to my own life personally. Well, I didn't make a closer look video for last month's Bible verse because I want your help with what I talked about. So March's monthly memory verse was from 1 Timothy 4:12 NIV translation, and it said, "Do not let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity." So for the closer look video, I want to focus specifically on the purity part of this verse. So this is where I need your guys' help. I want you guys to ask me questions about dating and purity and boundaries and marriage and yeah, even sex. I realize that's probably going to feel extremely awkward and way too personal, too much information. However, I feel as though a lot of churches view these issues as taboo topics and they just avoid talking about them altogether. And in doing so, I feel like we do, today's culture a great disservice because teens are curious about these issues. I mean, people in general are curious about these issues. And if we as Christians don't tell them what God has to say about these things, then they're going to go and look for this information in other places, whether it be from their friends or from the internet or from books or from television, from MTV, they're going to find the information somehow, some way. And unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation out there that isn't scripturally accurate. Not to mention the fact that a lot of youth feel uncomfortable talking to their parents about these issues. Parents don't want to talk to their kids about these issues. And, a lot of youth can't go get Bible studies that talk about dating or sex or purity. One, because they feel uncomfortable. Two, maybe because they're not old enough to drive themselves, or they just feel awkward, buying that stuff in front of their parents. So they just avoid, learning about this stuff altogether. And that's where learning about it from these other sources that aren't, scripturally based comes into play. So Kay Arthur, who is an awesome Bible study author and speaker, once said that we need a revolution for sexual purity. And I feel strongly called to be a part of this revolution and to encourage other people to be a part of it as well. So that's why I want to make this video on purity and dating and marriage and sex and boundaries for those of you who don't know what God has to say about these issues, for those of you who maybe do know what God has to say but find it really difficult to obey, for those of you who feel uncomfortable talking to your parents or your youth leaders or, who aren't able to buy Bible studies on these very important issues, for basically anybody who's had questions about these things before and, would like to know what God has to say about these issues, because he does have stuff to say about these issues, and oftentimes people just don't know where to look, or they don't want to listen, or it's a lot easier to believe what the world has to say as opposed to what God has to say. Now, I'm no expert about these issues, but I can tell you that I was the kid who learned about this stuff from the internet and from MTV and from kids at school, and unfortunately, those, places where I learned about these things really warped my mind and, just took it away from what God wants and, focused it on what the world says, and it just really messed me up big time. But over the past couple of years, I have been devouring Bible studies about marriage and sex and purity and dating and things like that. And between those Bible studies that I've been doing and the sermons that I've heard and my own personal life experiences, I'm going to try my best to answer your guys' questions from a biblically based, Christian-centered perspective. So I'm asking you guys to leave me questions in the comments below, or on my Facebook page, or on my daily booth, which I will link in the doobly-doo. If you guys feel uncomfortable asking me questions where, the whole world can see them, then feel free to send me a YouTube, a Facebook, or a daily booth message. I will keep all of these questions anonymous whenever I make my video about them, so there's no need to worry about all my friends are going to see I asked this question. No worries about that. And depending on how many questions that I get, I may end up making this a video series, so there probably is going to be more than one video about this stuff. So ask away, and when I have enough questions and enough time, I will probably make this video either in May or at the beginning of June, so be on the lookout for that. And also, the closer look video for April's monthly memory verse is going to be combined with the closer look video for May's monthly memory verse, because those two verses really relate well to each other. And lastly, I'll be posting another video tomorrow, which is May's monthly memory verse video, and I definitely encourage you guys to watch that video because the video is over my second favorite Bible verse of all time, and I'm really, really excited for it. So I think that's all that I need to say. Thanks everyone for asking questions, and I'll see you soon. Ciao. okay. I'm no expert about these issues. Ben! I'm still filming. Yes? Which I will also link in the doobly-doo. What? Okay.